Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision Horror Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Missy.
And we are sitting outside in my parents' backyard in the south suburbs of Illinois, where it's more forest than it is property. Soak up that ambience, listeners.
But we might get killed by falling violent acorns.
Yeah, this is like we've been out here.
Attack of the Killer Acorns.
We've been out here for a couple hours, and there are a few of us. Everybody else has gone home, but there have been massive amount of acorns falling from the sky, from the trees. There's a lot of trees out here. This is a lot of forest preserve. I believe it's the most forest preserve in the United States. I think is concentrated in this area.
I don't know.
I read that in a book about Bachelor's Grove by Ursula Bielski.
Okay.
I feel like it might be wrong, though, because I feel like the Pine Barrens in New Jersey is... I don't know. We're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into forested territory disputes. It's 2:35 in the morning. I'm a little bit drunk, and we're dodging acorns.
We're dodging acorns.
But we're going to talk about two movies that just dropped. One dropped on Hulu, and that is No One Will Save You. And one is in theaters right now, and that is It Lives Inside. And we're going to give you our spoiler-free reviews of both. So this will be a short episode, but hopefully we'll inspire you to check these movies out. So, Missy, let's start with, because it's in theaters, as you suggested, It Lives Inside.
Okay. I just went to see it yesterday. I believe it just opened yesterday.
Yes, it did.
And it was 7 o'clock.
It had like two showings. Well,
yeah, it had two showings, 7 and 9.
So, because it was Thursday, so I think there'll probably, hopefully, be more showings this weekend.
Think.
Yeah.
I would think. I just happen to be off on Thursdays, so if a new movie drops, a lot of times it's only one or two showings.
Yeah, and that's
it's at night, but that's fine because I'm nocturnal.
Yeah.
Although I went at 7, and there were, I don't know, like 6, 7 other humans there.
I think there was about 15 people at my showing, which gives me hope. Because it doesn't... I feel like like, I was aware of the marketing. I saw the trailer months ago. I watched it. I put on my blog. I did not remember anything about it other than I had wanted to see it. I felt like maybe there was a talk to me vibe, and I mean it's not a similar movie at all. Although I feel like
what, in the trailer you mean? Because it it didn't have that vibe for me. Maybe in a trailer. I didn't see the trailer. I kind of found it randomly. I didn't know about it. I was just looking, because I have the movie pass and I'm off on Thursdays, if there was anything I cared about seeing, and it's like, okay, it's a new horror movie. I looked it up. It said it was about a demon, so I'm like, okay, I like that kind of stuff, so...
I like demons.
Right, right, we like demons here.
Honk if you like demons.
So...
Directed by Bushal Dutta, I'm sure I'm butchering his name. Starring Megan Suri, Niru Bajwa, Mohani Krishnana, and this movie is interesting in that this is rolling out in big box theaters, and it is primarily about Indian Americans. So I believe specifically they say their culture is East Indian, and it deals with kind of some Indian folklore and their kind of demons. I forget what the actual demon
was called. A Pasach, I think.
Yes! Thank you for remembering that. That's so awesome. And it's an evil spirit that is attracted to negative thinking. What is it that, like, at one point the mother says, like, if you go to bed with negative thoughts or anger, negative emotions or thoughts in your heart, that's where it can grow.
Something to that effect.
And
that was an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
So the girl Samadhi.
Sam.
And which is an interesting, actually,
right.
That's actually an interesting thing. So she's one of 2 Indian girls in this neighborhood. I don't know where this took place. It was actually gorgeous.
Yeah, it was very pretty wherever they were.
It might have been Pacific Northwest. But so the other one is Tamira, and they were friends when they were younger, and then as they've gotten older, Samadhi is very much trying to fit in with all of the, the American,
right,
quote,
and to abandon her culture,
exactly,
and to be as American as possible.
Yes, and
it's a point of contention between her and her mother. Like that's a major theme in the film.
And so she has kind of parted ways with her former friend. There's one of those acorns. Tamari. And Tamari is, I will say, early on, you really see Sam interacting with all of her, like, quote unquote, American friends and being very, in.
Part of the in crowd.
Yeah, part of the in crowd. And Tamara kind of just, like, lurks around in the background holding this jar, and she looks traumatized.
Yeah, ragged.
Like, the first time you see her,
she's got big dark circles under her eyes, and her hair's all like kind of frizzy, and like she looks like she's been living in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah, totally. That's a good way to say it.
Like that haggard, I haven't slept in 2 weeks and I'm living on caffeine because something is trying to kill me.
Yes.
She's definitely, like, everybody's like, oh, what's wrong with Tamara? It's like, obviously there's something majorly wrong. Like,
yes, obviously.
This girl looks like she hasn't slept in a month. Like,
and it really just, it goes down. She's carrying this jar around, and the jar has like certain like runes or like writing on it. And at some point, I mean, she just, all of the other kids in school are like, oh, you used to be friends with her? Like, she's so creepy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like they all pick on her.
Yeah. And then she comes to Sam and says, like, I need your help. I need you to believe me. And this is kind of one of the things, like, there's a lot about this movie that reminded me of Smile. Because there's a thing in Smile where it's like, so when Sosie Bacon's character first encounters that first girl. And
right, the opening sequence?
Yes, the opening sequence. And everything that happens between them, eventually Sosie Bacon's character is on the other side of that exchange.
Oh.
And she, you know what I mean? It's like the exact same thing where she's like, no, I need you to believe me. And then you see, like, now she has become that person.
Because now it's happening to her.
Now it's happening to her. And so that was very much in this movie as well. So Tamira's like, I need you to believe me, blah, blah, blah. There's a demon in this thing, and I just feed it raw meat. Now it's getting too strong.
And nobody ever believes them.
And nobody ever believes them. And so it goes from there. But I felt like this movie does not reinvent the wheel. You're going to know the beats, but I feel like the strong point of this for me was I really liked the cultural aspect of it, because I'm like, I was telling Missy earlier before we recorded, the movie His House that's on Netflix, where it's, or what, I don't know if it's still on Netflix, it was for a while, but fuck Netflix, but it is a lot of South African culture transplanted into like an Anglo-European environment. And I remember watching that movie and really liking it and thinking like, man, I wish I could see something like this in the theater. And I felt like this kind of did that for me, where I was like, I kind of can't believe I'm seeing this movie that really, really focuses on East Indian culture, like in a big box theater in Clarksville, Tennessee. Like, that really made me happy. So that was the one plus. And then the other plus was, and I debated on divulging this. It's not really a spoiler. I mean, a little bit, but the movie, the demon is invisible for most of the movie, or you see it where it's like just eyes or whatever, or like a dark shape in the shadows.
Glowing eyes in the dark.
And so I thought, well, okay, so they don't have a budget, so they're doing the right thing. Because it was funny, the day I saw this, I was texting with somebody, and we were talking about The Conjuring. And the thing about The Conjuring, as much as I really like the first Conjuring movie, that movie is so strong when they don't show anything. And the minute they show that woman, the woman that possessed, it just deflates the movie for me to like by 50%. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like they're like, they know that they can't really do it, so they're not going to show it. And then there's a point in the third act where they show it, and I was like, oh, you weren't not showing it because you didn't have a good monster. You were just being coy and waiting to deliver it. Because I thought the monster, it's like one of my favorite monsters in recent memory. So,
really?
Yeah, like I really liked it a lot. And they still like were, there's never a moment where like the camera's on it full on, like boom, boom, boom. But
it's brief, but
it is a lot.
You'll get a decent look.
You get a really decent look, and I feel like it worked. And even when you see it moving, I felt like even when it was moving, there were scenes where I was like, oh man, it still looks fucking good. So, to me, if you like monster movies, go see the movie.
I mean, it was okay. I'm all for, like, I'm glad that it hit big box theaters. It's cool that they're showcasing other cultures. It hits all the beats. It's not bad. I mean, if you have interest in it, I'd say definitely check it out. It's a PG-13 movie. Unfortunately,
Yes.
Being a horror movie, most of the kills happen off screen, and when they do happen, there's like zero blood in this movie.
Yeah, there's not even many kills.
No, there's not. There's one scene that I thought was really cool. But I don't know. For me, it was average. I mean, not bad, but average. The monster, I love monster movies. The monster did not really do it for me. At first, I thought it was bad CGI. We have since found out that it was, I mean, part of it was CGI, but part of it was practical.
There's always going to be CGI
right?
In, but like I'm pretty sure primarily it was practical.
Okay. I was still kind of disappointed in the monster. There's a point when they're trying to fight it at the end that they go in a direction that I liked. I mean, I called it, but I like where they went with it. I mean, I don't want to say what that is.
We'll talk about that off.
Right, but so it's not bad. I'd probably give it a solid 3 out of 5 stars, but
yeah, that's fair.
I don't love it. If it sounds appealing to you, go for it. I think it's cool that they're showcasing other cultures. With me, it's a hit or miss thing. If it's a culture I'm really interested in, it's going to tip me more in that direction. If it's not, it's going to be harder for me to connect with it.
Fair.
But it's not a bad movie.
No.
And I still say, if you have interest, support it. We want these movies to exist.
Yes.
We want them to go to the theaters. It's not a bad watch. It's a decent popcorn flick. Yeah. But I think you liked it more than I did.
I think I did too. And I mean, I think that's fair. And, you know, I mean, the long and short of it is, like, I feel like it's been a minute since we had a horror movie in the theater. I mean, I know The Nun 2 came out, but
nobody cares about The Nun 2.
I'm just not tapped into that. So
no, me neither.
It was like a non-entity to me. So
it's all terrible CGI.
Yeah,
like,
and
no.
You know, and like other than that, it's like, I mean, the good news is, you know, Talk to Me is still in the theater, and
that's awesome. And if you haven't seen Talk to Me yet, or
definitely
listen to our episode, catch that while it's in the theater. It's
definitely.
I still think it's going to be my best movie for the year, unless something really blows it the fuck out of the water.
Yeah, it's
fucking awesome.
It's fucking awesome. So this wasn't that, but it's still it was.
But it's not bad. I mean, I didn't walk out of the theater going, okay, I just wasted 97 minutes of my life. Like, it's not bad.
Right. And I mean, I didn't walk out going, I want to come back next week like I did with Talk to Me.
Right.
But overall, like, you know, I really dug it. I think it's worth seeing. So definitely, you know, go support it. Second movie, this is not in the theater. And this is so funny that, like, this is a 20th Century Fox movie. And they just...
And this would have been a fun movie to see in a theater.
They just dumped this shit right on Hulu, and they made a big deal about it. And I guess 20th Century Fox, because of Prey, the Predator movie, this is like their, business model. And I know, like, this...
Okay.
Beyond Fest, not the actual festival, which is coming up, but, like, they always do, screenings throughout the year. They just did I believe it was them, they did a screening in L.A. with, like, the writer-director... blah, blah, blah. So this had some buzz behind it as far as on my radar. And this is No One Will Save You, and it's written and directed by Brian Duffield, which if you don't know that name or if you think that it sounds familiar, you would be right, because he most recently wrote and directed Spontaneous, but also wrote Underwater, Love and Monsters, The Babysitter...
Oh, damn.
Okay. This motherfucker, he is fantastic. I feel like everything he touches is gold. And I feel like because, I think we talked about this on the show back with Spontaneous. I think the thing with Underwater did better than anybody thought. That I don't think it did great, but I think it did better than anybody thought. So the next movie, Spontaneous, they were like, well, go ahead and direct it. And I don't really know how that movie did. I know everybody I know that has seen it loved it. I know,
right? But nobody's heard of it except us.
No, I mean, I've like a lot of the podcasts, like got people were like singing its praises. I don't know what that means as far as like the general public, right? How does
we are not the general public.
Right. But I mean, even like the general horror viewing public,
and that's it. It's a weird movie that doesn't quite fit anywhere because it's not. It's horror adjacent, but it's not really horror. It's more of a cute love story that turns into a weird existential crisis.
Yeah, that's a good way to say
it. With lots of fucking blood.
With lots of blood. And exploding teenagers, which would
and
be,
exploding teenagers.
The fountains of blood, as it were. But so this is No One Will Save You. The interesting thing about this movie, and they make no bones about showing you this in any of the materials out there. Well, I don't think I watched a trailer, but I don't even know how I knew this. It's an alien movie. So it's like Fire in the Sky, kind of, or like Signs. And I feel like there were nods to both those movies in this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is really just this...
A lot of Fire in the Sky.
A lot of Fire in the Sky.
A lot of Fire in the Sky.
It's been a long time since I've watched that.
Me too.
And I think that's on Hobo Max right now.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm gonna maybe go back and watch it. I think
it's shot and lit in a similar manner. Because I remember Fire in the Sky having kind of that dark, like, blue cast to it, and this does.
Well, and also, I feel like there's, like, a scene that's an iconic scene from Fire in the Sky where it's, like, the beam from the
poster.
Saucer, right? Yeah, yes, it is, right, where it's pulling the body
trying to remember,
up.
Does it actually happen that way in the movie? I think it does. But it's the poster.
They use that in this, and so this is just basically, like, you get one lone, so...
Caitlin Devers, she's from Justified. She's Loretta from Justified.
Oh my fucking God. I am blown away right now.
You didn't recognize her? How did you not? Because I know you love Justified as much as I do. I
did recognize her, but I could not pin it. And so the way so this movie suffered a little bit because I worked a half day. I got up today at 8, I worked a half day till 12, and then I had an Uber pick me up at 2 to go to the airport. And...
Right, so you were trying to squeeze it in.
Because here's the thing. My Hulu, I can't download anything. Because it went... When my phone took over, like I moved my Hulu from like paying for it to my phone. My phone was... Verizon's basically, we'll pay for your Hulu, right? So,
but it has ads. So.
But it has ads, which sucks. And... But also then what I realized, because you were like, oh, just download it. Mm-hmm. And I can't. I'm trying to figure out how to do it, and I couldn't do it.
And you can't because of the kind of...
So I watched it. It was fine, but I watched it. But so it was one of those viewings where I couldn't completely surrender to it because I was concerned with the time and blah, blah, blah. So oh my God, I can't. It's so obvious who she is now because she has such a distinctive look. But also, she was a little girl then, and now she's older.
It's her voice, and it's the way I feel like I'd recognize her, like her profile, her nose anywhere.
As soon as you said it, I was
got,
like, of course.
Like she broke her nose or something, and it just.
Oh my God, that's
yeah.
crazy.
It's definitely. She's. The leading lady is Loretta from Justified, and she gives a fantastic fucking performance.
She really does. So it's basically her living alone in the country, right? There's like no houses really anywhere near her.
No, where she lives looks fucking amazing.
It does, doesn't it? Would you like
you
to
get
live
that
there?
aerial shot when you go to she's got this gorgeous house, this big plot of land, all these trees, no people anywhere.
No people anywhere. And yeah, like she wakes up in the middle of the night and there's a fucking gray alien in her house. And so it goes from there. Though I really appreciated the fact that, like, this movie kind of just, once it starts...
It just, it's all in. It just goes.
There's really not a lull. There's like a little bit of a lull after that first night. But not really. It's enough of a lull to, like, let you know that there is no lull.
Right.
What'd you think?
I loved it. I thought it was really fucking... It was a really fun movie. She gives a hell of a performance. I am moody at best about alien movies. It's okay as long as I know that's what I'm getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very clear about what kind of movie it was, so I was fine with it. You get that first gray alien, and it's like, okay, looks like a stereotypical alien. Then you get a better look at it. And these aliens are fucking weird and creepy. And they move in ways that they shouldn't. Like, they take what looks like your standard gray alien with the big eyes, and they made it cool and creepy.
There are some deviations to their bodies where they look like giant praying mantises.
Yeah, and they have the weirdest fucking feet ever.
Yes.
Like, these things... These aliens kind of, like, it kind of has a body horror vibe. Yeah. For sure.
Well, and
the way they move their limbs, and when you first see it, she's hiding under the bed, I think.
Under the bed. Well, she's on the other side of the bed.
And then she slides under the bed.
And it comes over to the side she was on.
And you hear it thump, and you see the feet hit the ground, and then, like, the feet are flat on the ground, and then they pop up on their toes, and they look like weird fingers.
Yeah, well,
and it's super creepy.
And so that was the first. One of the things I thought about this movie, and that was the first point. And then there were others, but that specifically.
What
the feet move exactly like the hand, Bruce Campbell's severed hand in Evil Dead 2.
Which is awesome. I did not catch that.
And
but I think you are correct.
There were other elements in this movie where I'm like, I'm getting a total Sam Raimi Evil Dead 2 vibe. It's not overt, but it's definitely there. And I liked that. I really liked the score. Everything about it. I'm glad that 20th Century Fox is investing in these movies and releasing these movies, but like, I feel like this should have had a wider theatrical rollout.
Yeah, this could have hit theaters, and
I think that this really would have, like, done okay.
I think so too, because it's very engaging. But once it gets rolling, it's not slow. I mean, it's only about an hour and a half, and it takes maybe 15, 20 minutes to get rolling.
And also,
once you see an alien, like, you're in.
Yes.
And it just keeps going.
Also, it has like a B story that like comes in way earlier, and it goes through the whole fucking movie where there's a social aspect to her and this town and something that happened.
All right, she's obviously suffering from some major trauma.
Yeah, and you do not know what it is, and they're very, very, like,
cruel to her.
But the story is protective in how it deals it out because it saves it.
It saves it till the end.
And I really
it worked.
It works, and also I feel like knowing his other movies, it has a spontaneous.
But I didn't know
specifically.
that until after watching it.
Same.
Like I had no idea.
But I felt like the ending and like the way everything works out I was like, oh, I feel like that fits in with like the guy that made Spontaneous. Like I get it.
Yeah, I get it, and I love Spontaneous, but I didn't realize that I even knew the director. I mean.
Yeah, when I watched, I didn't know anything.
You just said, hey, it drops late Thursday night. You know, I'm going to see you Friday. Watch it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even really paying attention to that. But it's
good
granted,
watch.
it's a more of a sci-fi movie, but I mean, it definitely, like, I wanted a monster movie. I didn't get what I wanted with It Lives Inside.
You got it with this.
I got it with this.
That's cool.
Like, the aliens were cool. When she starts killing these things in, cool ways. There is definitely some blood and gore, and like, I got what I wanted here.
Yeah, it was good.
And I thought she gave an incredible performance. I mean, I'm sure the aliens are CG, but they were interesting and creepy, and I just didn't care.
Yeah, I mean, this is also with 20th Century Fox money. I feel like the CG is
right. It looks pretty good.
It looks really good. Like there's scenes with like thunderclouds like chasing her basically, and like I was watching this going like, this looks really fucking good.
Well, and there's one scene, like, you can see, like, you're looking into this big alien's eyes, and you can see, like, the reflection.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I don't know if it was the moon or or if it was just, like, its third eyelid
that's
rotating. But either way, it looked cool.
Yeah, it looked really good. And they did different things with the body types and whatnot. And again, there were, like, definite nods to... I definitely got a nod to Signs.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the way that before we start seeing the aliens do other things, like when we first see it walking through the doorway, like that's a direct nod to Signs.
Yeah.
And the way that alien looks, the way it's like tall and lanky with like its ribcage poking out. And,
yeah.
But as we get to see more of them, they've got more going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it was solid. So I mean, I would definitely say, I mean this is kind of an easy, one to pitch people because you can watch it
on
at
Hulu.
Home.
You can watch it at home, and there's enough action in it that this is going to appeal to more people. It's not even, I mean, it's definitely horror sci-fi, but it's an alien invasion movie.
Yeah,
like it's an easy sell. It's got a lot of action. The monsters are cool.
Yeah,
it's got it's got a decent body count if you count aliens.
Yeah.
But I mean, most of it takes place in this house with this one woman and these creatures. And her fighting them. And she's
pretty good at fighting them.
Yeah, she gets pretty fierce. And, I mean, her character is relatable. You don't know what's going on with her. The reveal at the end is interesting, but, I mean, she's fighting and killing these things. This poor woman has massive fucking anxiety. You see it in everything she does.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I really liked her character. I like that actress anyway. She gave a fantastic performance. Like, I would have liked to see it in a theater because there's some really cool alien action, especially, like, there was one that has, like, these crazy legs that pop out, and it was, like, on top of the...
That was a praying mantis one, where...
It was, like, on a roof or something.
Yeah, and I was like... I remember when that... You first see that, it's in the background, right? She's in the foreground, it's in the background. I'm like, oh, is that like a... That's like a weird scaling error. And then I was like, unless it's, like, that big. And then it, like, moved... And I was like, oh, it's that fucking big. It's that big.
It's like, it's like popping up on these weird, bendy praying mantis legs, and, like, it looks rad.
Yeah. So, okay, so that is No One Will Save You.
And it's on Hulu. It dropped yesterday.
It's on Hulu. It'll probably be there for quite some time, but watch it now.
It's a lot of fun.
If you want to have fun. If you don't want to have fun, that's fine. You don't have to have fun. Nobody's going to force you to have fun. And the other one is It Lives Inside. That's in theaters. It's probably not going to be in the theaters for, I would guess, super long, but you know what? Maybe, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's there for at least 3 weeks. That would be great, if not longer. But that one, I definitely think, like, I don't know. I really liked it. I like the monster. Not going to be for everybody. But definitely, you know, if you're a horror fan.
If you're a horror fan, check it out. I mean, right now, there's not any horror movies in the theater that, unless you haven't seen Talk to Me or you want to see it again. Yeah. There's not a lot of competition. Why not check it out?
Not much going on right now. So, okay.
In a couple weeks, I mean, we know we'll have some stuff coming out.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
I have my doubts about
I still have faith.
The Exorcist. But, okay, so that's It Lives Inside and No One Will Save You, or No One Will Save You because it lives inside, or It Lives Inside because no one will save you. And this is the Horror Vision, or the Horror Vision lives in... No, never mind. So, for It Lives Inside the Horror Vision, I'm Sean.
And I'm Missy.
And we'll be living inside the place that no one will save. Good Lord.
But we might get killed.
A pandemic of violence floods the streets of major cities as cases of the media-dubbed murder virus, MV20, soar, causing those infected to go on killing sprees. Caught in the middle, police detective Angela Miller finds her only trustworthy ally in the self-proclaimed psychic PI, Gerald Henry. As the two try to navigate the violence, they are drawn into New Age guru Abramelin Harvest's plot to heal the planet. Harvest's missive:
the world is sick, and humanity is the infection.
The cure: murder. From the twisted mind of Sean C. Baker, author of A Collection of Desires and Shadowplay Book 1, Kim and Jesse, comes his most vicious novel yet, Murder Virus.